Hello and welcome to another one of our new player hero guide videos. I am Steelfur, and of course if you aren't really sure what this series is doing, this is a 10 to 12 minute deep dive video into Viserai the Runeblood as part of our new hero guide series. So if you are coming to this video, it's understood that you probably have an understanding of the rules, you've been trying to decide what hero to play, and you think Viserai might be the hero for you. If you really just want a quick overview of all of the heroes, because you're making your initial steps into Flesh and Blood, you've read the rules but you're not really sure what hero to play yet, I do recommend you watch the overview video, which is at the start of this playlist, or you can find it on my channel, just new player hero guide overview, because that's a longer video, about 30 minutes, but it does give you a good sort of minute or two on each hero, just giving the basic idea of their aesthetic, how they work, their gameplay style, and that kind of thing. This video is for all you people who think, hey, this Viserai guy looks cool. How does he play? What sort of decks have people been winning with? And how do I make Viserai, is Viserai the hero that I really want? So it's important to understand that Viserai is kind of like a shadow-coded Arc Knight. He's a Runeblade, so he's married to his evil sword, except maybe not evil sword, but magic sword, the Nebula Blade, and he focuses around a mechanic for creating rune chants. Rune chants are simply an aura. They build up, and when you attack with a weapon or play an attack action card, then they trigger, and they will deal 1 damage to the opposing hero when they trigger. Viserai kind of comes in 2 main flavors, because he builds up these rune blades. These rune chants basically allow you to build up into an OTK, so a 1-turn kill style of Viserai, where you basically attack with enough rune chants to kill the opponent, or they just add on to your damage and create abilities. Runeblade, it's important to understand, is it kind of about playing every type of card in the game. So they play non-attack actions and then attack actions, and their abilities reward them for playing both. So you'll see Viserai's own abilities, whenever you play a Runeblade card, if you played another non-attack action card this turn, you create a rune chant token. So if I play something like Plunder Run or Tome of the Arc Knight, and then I follow it up with an Arc Knight Ascendancy, I will create a rune chant for doing that. So he rewards you playing lots of different types of cards. He rewards you playing non-attack actions into other cards, either attack actions or non-attack actions, to get those rune chant tokens to then either use that turn or later on. But you'll see also for Tome of the Arc Knight, you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, and if you reveal an attack action and a non-attack action card, you put them into your hand. So you can see that his deck is kind of built in an idea where I always want a non-attack action and an attack action, and you often go for a 30-30 ratio, which can lead to some awkward turns where you're not drawing properly. But if you like setting up and having like really interesting turns where you're playing different types of cards rather than just attacking, then Viserai could definitely be the hero for you. He does have some control elements because, as I said, his hands aren't always perfect. So he is actually happy to block and defend and find ways to sort of get the best turns off rather than pushing every turn like some aggro decks do. And he has got a lot of interesting combo potential within his own cards as well. Like, for example, Arc Knight Ascendancy costs 1 less to play for each rune chant you control, which means if you build these up for a few turns, blocking, build a few rune chants up, it can be free. If it hits, you get X more rune chant tokens, but X is the amount of damage it deals, and it has Dominate, which makes it harder to block. So if you buff this, you can get a lot of rune chants off, especially if you're playing at late game when people don't have a lot of armor to defend against you. So what do Viserai decks look like? If we go to the Swedish National Championship 2021, we can see a Viserai deck here. This is more of a mid-range aggro style of Viserai. You'll see that his plan is essentially to make lots of attacks with Go Again, and then use those attacks to generate rune chants via his ability and also other cards, and will essentially use those to push damage through, because your opponent can't block all of the arcane and all of the physical at the same time. And that's kind of one of the strengths of Runeblade, is that it's usually split between arcane and physical damage, and because of that, it makes it difficult to block all of the damage at the same time. There is an element to this deck of the potential of still playing a 1-turn kill deck, and you know there are ways to do that even within an aggro build. So we see stuff like Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath, which I'll show you in a second, which you won't be able to play without building up some rune chants. Let's also have a look at Sonata Arcanix. Let's have a look at Sting of Sorcery. I think those are going to be some good cards. So if we look at Knight's Blade of the Blood Oath, this costs 9 and it attacks for 9. You are not going to be able to play this very easily unless you have Rune Chant. So you need to build up a lot of Rune Chants, and then you can come in with this big attack for 9. Though a lot of the time people do use this just to attack Prism, because we'll talk about Prism later. But you know, you need these 9 strength attacks as a factor in deck building to deal with other heroes in the meta. But you have stuff like Mordred Tide, which lets you create 1 additional Rune Chant every time you would create a Rune Chant. So with Viserai's ability, that means every time you play another card after you play this, you're going to make 2 Rune Chants. And then you could play something like Read the Runes, and you would make 5 Rune Chants. So you're starting to see how Rune Chants can quickly build up, especially if you have non-attack actions with Go Again. So let's just talk about the big Viserai combo that is the core of the OTK deck. And that will kind of give you a good grounding in sort of the upward limit of that style of gameplay. So you can just build Viserai with lots of Go Again, with boots that give him Go Again, and essentially create this aggro deck, which is playing an attack, generating some Rune Chants, coming in with 3 Rune Chants and some physical, coming in with some Go Again, and then just keep going and going and going and chipping away, while also blocking reasonably well with you know, some of the defense reactions he has available to him. The other style is, of course, OTK Viserai, and this was something that was, you know, reasonably successful, but not super consistent. But, you know, has its place in the meta. And we'll talk about the Blitz meta in a second as well, in terms of Sloggers and Viserai, because that kind of feeds into Bloodsheath Skeletor as well. So Bloodsheath Skeletor is the heart of a combo engine, and if you want it, I think they cost about 25 quid as part of Crucible Unlimited. But you do want this for Viserai, because it has 2 armor, and it also enables a lot of turns where you don't have the resources to pay for things, but you do have a few Rune Chants. So you destroy Bloodsheath Skeletor, and the next attack action card and non-attack action card you play this turn gain. This attack costs 1 less to play for each Rune Chant you control. Which, as you imagine, if you've got quite a lot of Rune Chants, is a fairly big discount, and you can apply that to a lot of different cards. Primarily, the card that it is often applied to for the combo Viserai deck is Sonata Arcanix. Now, this is a more complicated card, but it is a very, very important card to understand for combo Viserai. So it's got a cost of X and X, so, you know, coming from other games, you'll understand that if I name a number like 5, I then have to pay 10 resources, because it's X and X, so I have to pay 5 and then 5. It's not 5 by 5 or anything like that. I then reveal the top X cards on my deck. So if I name 5, I pay 10. I then reveal X plus 3, 8 cards, and then I look at them. And for each non-attack action I reveal, remember I said Viserai has equal ratios, so usually 30 attacks and 30 non-attacks. For each non-attack action I reveal, I will put an attack action I revealed this way into my hand. Then I deal arcane damage to target hero equal to the number of cards put into my hand this way, shuffle and banish the card. So a lot of people will wonder, what is the interaction between Bloodsheath Skeletor's cost reduction and Sonata Arcanix? And the fact is that Bloodsheath Skeletor will reduce the final amount you have to pay by the amount of Rune Chants you have. So if I have 10 Rune Chants, I then can name 5, pay 0 because it's reduced by 5, and reveal the top 8 cards of my deck. If you're seeing where this goes. If I'm playing a 1-turn kill Viserai deck, I may have 20 Rune Chants because I've been blocking, building a few Rune Chants every turn. I'll play Sonata, I'll name 10, I'll reveal 13 cards, and then I could potentially get half of that, 6 attack actions into my hand, and then also deal 6 arcane damage. And if those attack actions have Go Again, like for example, if we bring up Meet and Greet, Enlightened Strike, and I think Rouse the Ancients, they're probably the ones we want. If I deal the 6 arcane damage, then obviously Meet and Greet is going to get Go Again, and I play blues and reds of those if I pick up any of those. Enlightened Strike can get Go Again just for putting a card on the bottom of my deck. And Rouse the Ancients, I have to reveal attack action cards with 13 or more total power, and then it gets +7 and Go Again. But obviously if I've just picked up 6 attack actions, the odds are I'm going to have 13 power worth of attack in my hand to play Rouse the Ancients. So you can see how with 20 Rune Chants presenting 20 arcane, plus Sonata presenting 6 arcane, that's 26 damage, which is very hard to block. And then of course we're going into a big turn, we're going to do 3, 4, 5 attacks with Go Again, and that's going to 1-turn kill my opponent. Now, doing that with less Rune Chants is still a viable strategy. It's not 1-turn kill, but it can still apply a lot of pressure. And that's why a lot of people have opted to include stuff like Sonata Arcanix and Skeleta, even when not going for the one-turn kill gameplay strategy, but instead, just as another option for their gameplay. So let's just talk a bit about Blitz, because I think this is quite important. So Blitz runs a similar idea, but the Blitz Viserai deck that used to be quite popular was focused around using the Skeleta, which we've just seen, to reduce the cost of Slogism, and then use Slogism to play Arcanite Ascendancy. So Slogism is a pretty beefy buff to your attack, right? The yellow one is the main one you want to play, or the red one, it gives you an extra attack +5, right? If you give you an extra attack +5 and it has Dominate, then you're then coming in with an Arcanite Ascendancy for probably 6 rune shards, 10 physical with Dominate, and of course, if it hits, you get 10 more rune chants, which then turn into a Disgusting next turn. So this is much more of an aggro, low-to-the-ground Blitz build that focuses on trying to pull off 1 or 2 big attacks a game with the Arcanite Ascendancies and the Slogisms and the Skeleta, or just otherwise regularly building up rune chants, coming in, hitting with some damage, dealing some damage. And that's kind of how Viserai plays. It's a class, kind of to summarize, Viserai is a class with a lot of adaptability and flexibility to it, because it uses a lot of different attack actions and non-attack actions to achieve its game plan. Viserai has a core multiple deck options within its card pool, and also it benefits from being a Rune Blade, which there are 2 others, so it has a lot more sets which it gets cards from. Sonata, for example, came from Monarch, where we got Chain. There's also cards like Sting of Sorcery that come from Tales of Aria, where we got another Rune Blade, and of course the new Rune Blade weapon, Rosetta Thorn, which I highly recommend people play in Viserai. So Viserai has this deep card pool, which makes him really attractive. Rune Blades have also consistently proven to be one of the strongest classes in the game, so that is something to consider if that's kind of where you're trying to come at the game from, as in I want to play the class that has had the most consistent performance. Chain is the only class currently to have had cards banned, which was, and that's kind of led over into Viserai and Briar both being very strong decks as well, because Rune Blades have a lot of cards available to them. But Viserai is just this really great hero who plays a lot of different lines. He makes rune chants. He has a lot of different game plans that can even be included within the same deck, and you can pivot between the 2 of them based on how you attack, how you block, how much you build up versus how much you go for the kill. And really that gives him a lot of flex. I feel like Viserai is a hero that very much rewards playing him a lot and understanding his nuances. And I've seen people who, like people like Matt Rogers, my friend Hamish, and we have a whole video, by the way, on Viserai to wrap this up. We have a whole video on Viserai and the deck tech he took to the UK Nationals, and where he walks through all of the ins and outs of what choices he made to build that deck. So if you're interested in Viserai, if this video has tempted you, do please look at that video on my channel. He also has a full deck tech on Push the Point, his own channel, which you can look at as well. So if you're finishing this being like, yeah, Viserai might be for me, I need more content, please do go and look at that video now. It's a fantastic video to get you started playing Viserai, even if it is a little in-depth, but it's also a great interview, if I do say so myself. Other than that, if you like this video, please do like and subscribe. Remember, this video is for new players to help themselves figure out what hero they're supposed to be playing. So if you have a new friend who's thinking about playing Viserai, please do share this video with them. And of course, if they have any questions, please do get them to respond in the comments. I will be monitoring this video as well as the posts on Reddit and Twitter, and responding to questions whenever I can to help new players get into the game and find the hero that best suits them. So by all means, please do feel free to get in touch, and I will look forward to speaking to all of you soon, or playing some Flesh and Blood with you when I can.